Hello, my name is Kim Soo-il and I'm a professor at Daegu University. Today I'll discuss how to store and pack fruits to preserve freshness and to merchandise fruit products. I hope you will find my lecture helpful in designing fruit packages and in minimizing trial and error in the process of merchandising fruits in Cambodia. First, let's see what makes fruit quality deteriorate after harvesting. The fruit quality deteriorates due to temperature, humidity, epidermal structure, air pressure, ethylene production. Let's see them one by one. One of the major causes of deterioration of fruits after harvesting is temperature. Before explaining this, we need to talk about transpiration first. The plant leaves are where photosynthesis occurs. During photosynthesis, plants require water and water absorbed through their roots are delivered into the xylem and to leaves. Transpiration is the process of that water movement through a plant. The water held in the cells evaporates through the stomata and, to make up for the lost water, the water from the roots is pulled up through the xylem. While root pressure is the force that drives water upward from the bottom, transpiration creates a force to pull the water up from the top. In the process, the molecules of water show cohesion and adhesion. And due to capillary action, water molecules move through the tubes, and that process is transpiration. Now let's discuss the first cause of deterioration of fruits, temperature. Temperature is the biggest environmental factor that affects transpiration. As the temperature increases, the rate of transpiration increases. During transpiration, latent heat is released and material temperature does not go up too high but is maintained at certain levels. When all conditions are constant, the plant pours upon a lot if the temperature rises within the range of 0 to 30 degrees. At high temperatures above 30 degrees, however, CO2 accumulates a lot as respiration rapidly increases, so the pores are rather closed. In a general agricultural product storage environment, the higher the ambient temperature is, the higher the rate of transpiration shows. Because through active transpiration, latent heat is released and the increase in material temperature is contained. The second cause is humidity. Since water vapor is emitted from the internal tissues of agricultural products to dry air, transpiration action gets accelerated when the relative humidity of the environment around the agricultural products is low. Conversely, when the indoor relative humidity rises close to 100%, transpiration does not occur because the moisture content of agricultural products and the surrounding environment is balanced. Therefore, the higher the relative humidity during storage is, the better the conditions are to suppress moisture loss due to the transpiration. Third, the epidermal structure of agricultural products. Transpiration occurs mostly through the stomata, and the transpiration through the epidermis is limited to 8 to 10%. Therefore, transpiration is more active in leaf vegetable compared to fruit vegetables. When cuticles are formed on the surface of mature fruits, transpiration is inhibited, and when the epidermal tissue is damaged, water loss gets increased. Fourth, air pressure. The rate of transpiration is affected by the vapor pressure around agricultural products. If temperatures are the same, the greater the difference between the saturated vapor pressure and the actual vapor pressure, the greater the evaporative moisture content. Therefore, the lower the atmospheric pressure in the storage environment, the faster transpiration gets. You can expect a 10% increase in moisture loss for a 10% decrease in air pressure. Ethylene is a tasteless, odorless, and colorless gas, and it is a kind of plant hormone involved in many metabolic processes. It is also called ripening hormone because it induces or promotes ripening of fruits, which leads to plant aging. Ethylene greatly affects the storage capacity of horticultural crops after harvest. When crops are exposed to ethylene from the outside, intracellular ethylene biosynthesis is promoted. It is necessary to not only inhibit intracellular ethylene biosynthesis but also to remove external ethylene, because ethylene from the outside accelerates plant aging the same way endogenous ethylene does. In some cases, the aging accelerating effect of ethylene is rather advantageous in agriculture. Ethylene promotes the decomposition of chlorophyll and induces synthesis of anthocyanin or carotenoid pigments. So sometimes ethylene is intentionally used to enhance the coloration of fruits, such as citrus fruits of early maturing varieties, peppers and tomatoes, or to promote the maturation of apples of early maturing varieties. Recently imported bananas are treated with ethylene just before shipment for uniform ripening and color expression. Ethylene-treated kiwis are also matured uniformly and their fragrance is increased, so ethylene is used to improve their marketability. Agricultural products continuously generate ethylene during growth and ripening. Plant tissue reacts greatly to ethylene concentration as low as 0.01 ppm, and in particular, when they are stored in a closed space after harvest, ethylene accumulation affects their physiology or quality greatly. Even leafy vegetables and root vegetables, which produce less ethylene than fruits, experience a surge in ethylene production when they are under stress due to physical wounds, pest infection, or inappropriate environmental conditions. Physiological damages such as chilling injury, hypoxic damage, or high carbon dioxide damage are also aggravated in an environment where ethylene is accumulated. As mentioned, most metabolic phenomena that cause quality changes in agricultural products are mainly promoted by ethylene, so it is possible to maintain fruits' freshness by inhibiting the biosynthesis or action of ethylene. During storage, transportation, and sales with ethylene-sensitive crops are mixed with crops that produce large amounts of ethylene. Quality changes or quality loss may occur due to the indirect effect of ethylene, so you need to consider this during storage. Substances that inhibit the action of ethylene include Ag plus CO2, 2,5-NDE, and 1-MCP. They interfere with the action of ethylene by binding to the ethylene receptor. Ag plus ions are used in the forms of AgNO3 or STS, but their use is limited in Europe due to environmental concerns. 1-MCP is known to be harmless to human body and has become the most popular freshness retention agent recently, as it has a very high freshness retention effect even at low concentrations. The most practical method for removing ethylene is to use the KMNO4 solution as an oxidizing agent. In general, the saturated KMNO4 solution is absorbed on a porous material such as vermiculite or perlite to absorb the passing air, and ethylene is oxidized and removed by potassium permanganate. Or it is possible to remove ethylene by using a heated platinum catalyst and ultraviolet rays. If the temperature rises by 10 degrees in the range of 5 to 25 degrees, the respiration of agricultural products rises 2 to 2.5 times, resulting in rapid quality changes such as loss of nutrients. Therefore, to keep the quality and freshness of crops after harvesting, you need to lower the temperature and slow down the metabolism. Since the low oxygen, high CO2 conditions delay respiration, freshness can be maintained by controlling the oxygen and carbon dioxide concentrations during storage. However, if the oxygen concentration is below the limit, there is a risk of anaerobic respiration, and also CO2 concentration higher than the limit may cause damages. Ethylene makes most crop breathe more actively, so it is necessary to inhibit the biosynthesis of ethylene or to remove the ethylene generated. Wounds cause physical stimulation and invasion of microorganisms to increase the result in increased respiration too. Among crops having the same shape, the smaller the size, the lower the respiration rate because smaller crops have a lower ratio of surface area to volume. Keeping fruits fresh by suppressing moisture loss during storage. If the skin of agricultural products is dented or damaged during harvesting, sorting, packaging, and shipping, the surface area will increase and crops will lose more moisture. And if harvested crops are not put into storehouse soon enough after, the long-term exposure to high water vapor pressure difference will cause more moisture loss. One can increase the humidity by operating a humidifier inside storehouse, but when the mist condenses on the evaporating coil, the humidity will decrease. Excessive airflow rate in the storage increases water loss, so it is recommended to increase the airflow rate at the beginning of storage and gradually lower it to prevent excessive water loss. Since packaging helps reduce the vapor pressure difference of agricultural products and prevents moisture loss, you can keep fruits fresh by using packaging materials with an appropriate level of gas permeability to avoid the damages related to low oxygen and high CO2 concentrations. How to use the freshness maintenance agent 1-MCP. Since 1-MCP is a gas, it should be used in hermetic storehouse. If that's not possible, a sealed container or a film cover with lower permeability should be used. When using it in a storehouse, airtightness should be ensured by blocking passages through which air can move, such as vents and air conditioner outlets. For 1-MCP treatment, dissolve 1-MCP in water or solution in an enclosed space where agricultural products are stored and use a fan to let it diffuse and fumigate. In general, 1 ppm is used for 24 hours and ventilation should be performed for 30 minutes after treatment. To ventilate, open the storehouse or airtight container or remove the film that has blocked the vent or air conditioner outlet. Need to manage hygiene in storehouse. If putrefactive bacteria such as mold or germs exist inside storehouse, they grow in humid environment. And spores will be blown when the cooler is running, causing recontamination and spoilage of the stored agricultural products. In addition, if mold spores grown in agricultural products stored last year or last cropping season remain inside the storehouse, it may cause spoilage of newly received agricultural products. Even in a low temperature environment, many putrefactive bacteria can remain active, so the inside of the storehouse must be kept clean. A temperature lower than optimum temperature causes chilling injury or freezing injury, while a temperature higher than the optimum temperature shortens the storage period. Since the operation of the refrigerator is controlled by the temperature sensor installed inside the storehouse, if the storage temperature is set as -1 degrees, the temperature of the storehouse will be within -0.5 to -1.5 degrees, assuming a deviation of ±0.5 degrees from the set temperature. However, since the temperature deviation of commonly used storehouses is usually plus minus 2 degrees, so the actual temperature can drop down to minus 3 degrees. To keep freshness as long as possible during long-term storage, it is recommended to keep the temperature as low as possible within the range where the cells are not frozen. However, if the temperature drops below the freezing point too frequently or too long, there is a risk of chilling injury. Therefore, the temperature must be set by taking into consideration the margin of error, and basically, adequate facilities must be in place to minimize the temperature deviation. Temperature distribution. Right in front of the cooler is where cold air is discharged and temperature is the lowest, so crops placed here run a higher risk of freezing injury. Therefore, the temperature of the cold air coming out of the cooler must be higher than the freezing point. On the other hand, the corners where cold air is not well reached or the center of storehouse have relatively high temperatures, so crops placed here may respirate more and lose quality faster. The temperature difference inside a high-ceiling storehouse can be as big as 2 degrees, so attention needs to be paid. If the temperatures inside a storehouse are not uniform, there is a risk of chilling or freezing injury, and the temperature needs to be set significantly higher than the optimal temperature. Therefore, it is very important not to put too much crops in a storehouse and to maintain inside temperature consistently by using a device that can facilitate air circulation. When agricultural products are received into an empty storehouse, the flow of cold air changes. If you place too much crops in the storehouse, the cold air will stagnate around the vents and will not be able to move to every corner of the storehouse. Place crops only up to 75% of the capacity and secure air passages so that air can travel up and down, left and right, and through the center. To reduce the temperature deviation inside a storehouse, it is desirable to secure a space of 30 centimeters or more between pallets and between pallets and the wall, and to clear 50 centimeters or more to the ceiling and in the central aisle. Low temperature storage. A cooling system is used to lower the temperature of agricultural products and store them at a low temperature. At low temperatures, the metabolism of agricultural products, such as respiration, is slowed down, and the loss of nutrients and moisture is reduced, and the proliferation of microorganisms and spoilage is suppressed, so low temperature storage is a widely used storage method. Each crop has different requirements for low temperature, so it is necessary to set the temperature by carefully examining the appropriate temperature range and pay special attention to possible chilling injury. Even for the same crop type, the threshold temperature for chilling injury is different depending on the degree of ripening. It is generally known that immature crops are more sensitive to low temperature than mature crops. For example, in the case of tomatoes, the appropriate storage temperatures during the mature green stage are 10 to 13 degrees, but ripe tomatoes can be stored at a relatively lower temperature at 8 to 10 degrees. Controlled atmosphere storage. Controlled atmosphere storage is a technique that helps reduce the respiration of crops as much as possible and maintain the quality as long as possible by controlling the concentrations of oxygen and carbon dioxide in the air. Since respiration is essential for plant metabolism and vitality, a condition should be created where minimum respiration can be maintained. In general, oxygen concentration of 8% or less and carbon dioxide concentration of 1% or more are appropriate. While general low-temperature storehouses have only temperature and humidity controllers, CA system can remove oxygen, supply carbon dioxide, and furthermore, is equipped with an ethylene removal device so the environment inside the storehouse can be controlled more precisely. In order to maintain the regulated air composition, air tightness and humidity control devices must be also installed. Since these devices are additionally installed, higher costs are required for facility and operation. Benefits of CA storage. In high carbon dioxide and low oxygen conditions, the respiration rate of agricultural products as well as the amount of ethylene generated decrease. High CO2 concentrations not only slows the respiration rate down, but also inhibits the action of ethylene by competitively binding to the ethylene receptor. CA storage has the benefit of maintaining crop quality by suppressing metabolism. CA storage is applied to store subtropical crops including oranges and peppers that cannot be stored at low temperatures. Storage damages such as apple scalding and browning can be alleviated under CA conditions. Under the conditions of 2 to 3% oxygen and 3 to 5% carbon dioxide, the growth of mold is inhibited, thereby reducing spoilage during storage. However, under conditions where the low oxygen, high CO2 damage occurs, spoilage may be worse. Damage of CA storage. Excessive hypoxia and high CO2 during CA storage may cause physiological damage such as potato spoilage, asparagus water immersion, and apple browning. Western pears, bananas, and tomatoes mature unevenly during CA storage, and their color gets expressed differently among individuals, resulting in lower product uniformity. Excessive hypoxic conditions during CA storage may make fruits lose their original flavor and generate off flavor due to anaerobic respiration. When the CA treatment is applied to harvested potatoes, the formation of a protective layer is delayed and the storage capacity may be rather reduced. Therefore, it is necessary to create a CA environment after the healing process is over. Modified atmosphere storage. MA storage utilizes the principle that when agricultural products are packaged with films and stored at a certain temperature, CO2 is generated by respiration accumulated inside the package and oxygen is consumed. Over time, the air composition inside the packaging material will have high CO2 and low oxygen concentrations, so the plant respiration is suppressed and quality loss is reduced. It is similar to CA storage in the sense that respiration is suppressed by changing the air composition, but the biggest difference is that MA storage indirectly modifies the air composition by utilizing the plant's respiration rather than artificially changing the air composition. MA storage has downsides and it is different from CA storage as it cannot precisely control the air composition as one would wish. Physical damage. All damages caused by physical stimuli, such as wounds on the epidermis during the cultivation post-harvest treatment, or crushing during loading and transportation, are classified as physical damages. The wounded area not only doesn't look good, but also accelerates rapid browning of the tissue, water loss, entry of putrefactive bacteria, and spoilage. In addition, as the respiration rate and ethylene generation are increased, the storage capacity is lowered, so one should be careful not to shake or shock crops during handling. And crops having physical damages should be separated from unwounded crops. Physiological damage. Chilling injury. Chilling injury refers to a permanent physiological impairment that occurs when exposed to low temperatures above zero. In other words, if crops are stored at a low temperature, even though the temperature is not below zero, damages similar to freezing injuries show that do not appear when stored at room temperature. The threshold temperature for chilling injury is the temperature that causes damage regardless of storage period, and it varies depending on crops. It is usually in the range of 10 to 15 degrees, but in some cases it can be as low as 3 degrees. Often, chilling injury does not develop in low temperature environments, but later appears in high temperature environments, so attention is required. Since chilling injury is closely related to the time of exposure to below threshold temperatures, raising the temperature in the middle of the storage period to stop the process that develops into chilling injury will help. Freezing injury. When agricultural products are stored at a temperature below the freezing point, ice crystals are formed in the intercellular space or inside the cells of destroy the cells and impair the crop quality. The fruit flesh becomes translucent, then browns and loses moisture, and the skin color changes to dark brown or brown. In case of chilling injury or freezing injury, adjust the set temperature so that the measured temperature reaches the appropriate range. If temperature deviation is too big during storage, increase the set temperature by 2 degrees. Or move the crops placed in the area below the appropriate temperature to other locations or cover them with a covering material. Gas damage. When oxygen concentration is too low or CO2 concentration is too high during CA storage or MA storage, damages such as blackening of the skin and browning of the flesh occur. When products are stored for too long or inappropriately in a general low-temperature storehouse, the plant's respiration increases and CO2 is continuously accumulated, which may cause damages. The damages caused by these two gases are similar in that the epidermis and the flesh are browned, but with low oxygen, the damaged area changes to translucent, while with high CO2, the damaged area is hardened and dried, so it is distinguishable. To prevent damages caused by low oxygen and high CO2, one can adjust their concentrations directly in CA storage. In MA storage, change the kind and thickness of the film to a more permeable one or open the storehouse door to ventilate if the external temperature is not high. Ethylene damage. All plants, including agricultural products, continuously produce ethylene. The amount varies depending on the type of crop, and even ethylene as little as 0.0 ppm affects plant tissue. In general, nutrient organs such as leafy vegetables produce more ethylene than reproductive organs such as fruits. Agricultural products are more exposed to physical and physiological stress during harvesting or transportation, so the production of ethylene is higher than in the growth state, and the generated ethylene is accumulated because the agricultural products are stored for a long time in an enclosed environment, such as in packaging film or a storehouse. The accumulated ethylene again stimulates the biosynthesis of ethylene in agricultural products, causing various damages such as promotion of ripening and aging, formation of a double layer and disintegration of fruit, browning of the fruits, and decomposition of chlorophyll. To prevent ethylene damage, open the storehouse door to let the accumulated ethylene out or install an ethylene remover inside the storehouse. A bag of potassium permanganate can be placed in the storehouse to absorb and remove ethylene or use 1 MCP treatment. 1 MCP treatment should be done in a completely enclosed space, and for agricultural products it should be a place having vents to let the gas to pass. Before 1 MCP treatment, measure the volume of the place and use only appropriate amount. A fan should be installed inside the storehouse to evenly spread the generated gas. Pour a certain amount of water in the container and put the Smart Fresh product to generate 1 MCP. Immediately after the treatment, close and seal the door. After the treatment time, open the door for at least 30 minutes to ventilate and then remove the 1 MCP container. Packaging is an important element of agricultural products distribution as good packaging helps prevent crushing, promote sales, deliver information to consumers, reduce production and labor costs, and enhance environmental sustainability. There are individual packaging and internal and external packaging. Packaging materials include corrugated cardboard box, plastic container, plastic pouch, and box tape. Packaging can improve or hurt products' freshness, so it's important to choose the right packaging method and material for your crops. The distribution of agricultural products can be divided into two. Wholesale distribution, including public wholesale markets in big cities, and retail distribution in supermarkets and other retailers. For packing agricultural products for wholesale, the protection of produce and improvement of marketability and handling work efficiency are considered important as products need to travel to wholesale markets before reaching consumers. The packaging materials are used only until the products arrive at wholesale markets, so it is desirable to minimize packaging costs rather than spending too much on quality materials which are required for retail sales. The most popular packaging materials for wholesales is corrugated cardboard box. The most important function when packing with corrugated cardboard box is the protection of products inside. The improvement of marketability, information display, and affordability is also important things to consider. For open boxes, machine-made boxes are commonly used as manually putting boxes together requires additional labor costs. However, using already assembled boxes requires high costs for transportation and large space for storing them. So individual farmers do not use machine-assembled boxes for cost concerns, but those who supply products in small packages to large retailers prefer these boxes. For packing agricultural products for retail sales, marketability and consumer convenience are key as these products will directly reach consumers. Of course, keeping products fresh, affordability, and eco-friendliness is also important things to consider. Most of retail packages are plastic and there are plastic pouches and containers. Plastic pouches are expected to be effective in extending shelf life and improving sales, consumer convenience, information display, and handling work efficiency. Eco-friendliness is also important but not a priority as the waste amount of packaging materials to be disposed is small compared to plastic containers. When using PET containers, consumer convenience, information display, sales promotion, handling work efficiency is considered more important than extending shelf life. To improve environmental sustainability, it is desirable to develop the design packages that will leave only minimum weight and volume of waste. For packing fruits and fruit vegetables for wholesale, closed boxes and open boxes made for corrugated cardboard box are commonly used. Packaging units for major crops are 15, 7.5, and 5 kilograms for pears, 10, 5 for apples, 5, 4, and 2 for grapes, 4.5 kilograms for peaches, 10 for sweet persimmons, 10, 5, 3 kilograms for Korean melons, 10 for tomatoes, 5 for cherry tomatoes, and 2 kilograms for strawberries. Closed boxes, although products cannot be seen from outside, are used for crops that can be stacked in multiple tiers, including apples, pears, tangerines, sweet persimmons, Korean melons, cherry tomatoes, and tomatoes. Open boxes have a clear plastic film cover so that products can be seen. Open boxes are usually used for crops that need to be placed in one tier or packed in container including grapes, peaches, strawberries, apples for gift, pears, Korean melons, and tangerines. Open boxes are preferred by consumers because sellers cannot cheat by hiding lesser quality ones under good ones. But open boxes are more expensive and take more time to assemble than closed boxes. For fruits for gift sets, boxes that the lids and box bottoms are assembled are used to make products more marketable on display as premium products. Farmers who don't sell many fruits gifts use open boxes instead due to concerns over inventory control and packaging material costs. Packaging materials for retail sales of fruits vary by crop type, but corrugated cardboard boxes, PET containers, pouches, and low-density polyethylene pouches are generally used. Packaging units also differ by crop, but usually fruits are sold in small packages weighing about 2 kilograms or less. For apples, pouch packaging is preferred than PET containers. Pears are mainly sold as gift sets, and at some large supermarkets, they're packaged and sold in a 5-kilogram open cardboard box with the brand name of Frugal Pear. Fruits for ancestral rites are packaged in PET containers, and if the quality is somewhat lower, pouch packaging is used. Tangerines are packaged and sold in PET containers or small packaging boxes or pouches weighing less than 2 kilograms. For sweet persimmons, usually 5 of them are placed together in low-density polyethylene packaging materials, but recently they have been sold in smaller packs. Grapes are packaged in 2 to 3 kilogram corrugated cardboard boxes, and imported grapes are sold in bags as imported. In retail distribution, selecting the right packaging unit and packaging material is important. As the number of single-person household increases, supermarkets have become more interested in developing small package as well as packaging methods and types for consumer convenience. Although agricultural products packaged in single-use plastic containers are developed a lot, the cost of packaging materials affects both producers and consumers, so sufficient review needs to be done during product planning. Select trucks having a cargo capacity and size right for the box size. The vehicles used for wholesale distribution and transportation of agricultural products are 5-ton trucks and are divided into cargo trucks and wing body trucks. To cargo trucks, boxes are directly loaded without pallets, and wing body trucks are used with pallets. The width of a wing body truck is as wide as 2,280 to 2,350 millimeters so that standard pallets can fit in 2 rows. Cargo trucks have recently been made wider, but in the past, the width was 2,120 millimeters, making it impossible to load standard pallets in 2 rows. To reduce transportation costs, it is necessary to select a truck having the right cargo size so that a larger number of boxes can be transported by one ride. Since the number of boxes can be loaded may differ depending on the packaging box size for each crop, it is necessary to decide the agricultural products suitable for the cargo size and select the type of trucks accordingly. For pears packaged in 15-kilogram boxes, the number of boxes that can be loaded vary by 44.5% from 406 to 558 boxes depending on the cargo size of each truck. Assuming the transportation cost for Mokpo to Seoul is 500,000 won, the cost for carrying one box will be different from 850 to 1,231 won, meaning there will be 381 won for difference. Also, even if trucks have the same cargo size, the transportation cost will differ depending on what crop type you are carrying. Since packaging boxes of different dimensions are used depending on the characteristics of each crop, even if the same truck is used, the transportation costs per box vary from 612 to 1,231 won, showing 619 won of difference. Pallets are the most commonly used materials for transporting large cargoes at once. Pallets are made from woods for one-time use, steel for multiple use, or plastic for both. For agricultural products, wooden pallets or plastic pallets are mainly used. Some distributors individually buy pallets, but those handling a large amount of products usually use a pool system for purchasing pallets. The pallet pool system is a kind of rental service. Users pay a certain amount of fee to borrow pallets from pallet manufacturers who supply pallets as requested and collect them afterwards. There are 69 types of boxes that fit into standard boxes. Most common sizes are 550, 366, 510, 360, 505, 2095, 460, 310, 440, 330, and 420, 325. One can choose a box size right for their crops. The standard pallet size has been 1,100, 1,100 only. Pallets of 1,200, 1,000 is also used now. Therefore, boxes that can fit onto these two different standard pallets should be developed. Agricultural products for export tend to stay longer in the distribution process and receive more shocks during transportation than ones for domestic consumption. Thus, they are more susceptible to quality deterioration and complaints for importing countries. Many of those complaints are related to corrugated boxes that are not sturdy enough to prevent crushing of crops. This happens when packaging was poorly designed without predicting compression strength decrease that may occur during export, transportation, or inside the container due to humidity. The price competitiveness of exports of agricultural products is highly related to transportation costs. To transport agricultural products in a safe and affordable manner, it is key to standardize packaging in corrugated box designs. Packaging standardization encompasses the standardization of packaging methods, packaging materials, packaging strength, and packaging dimensions. To keep exported agricultural products fresh, it is necessary to standardize packaging methods by considering the respiration characteristics of each crop and to develop packaging materials by considering the right oxygen permeability rate and distribution temperature for each crop. Standardization of packaging strength is needed because for agricultural products, refrigerated containers are used and the humidity inside the cold storage makes the hardness of the corrugated box decrease. Standardization of packaging dimensions is needed because container load efficiency must be maximized to reduce transportation costs for export. 20-feet containers and 40-feet containers having the maximum loading capacity of 20 tons are usually used for exporting agricultural products. Agricultural products have the characteristics that the containers cannot be filled with products to maintain the weight and refrigeration temperature. They should be loaded in consideration of the circulation of cold air. When agricultural products are rotten inside the container, the spoilage is most severe in the central area of the cargo. The temperature of the agricultural products inside the box rises due to the heat of respiration, which further speeds up spoilage. Therefore, when manufacturing corrugated cardboard boxes, ventilation holes must be made so that the air can circulate well inside the box. Cold air circulation must be taken into account when loading the boxes as well. Various agricultural products such as apples, pears, strawberries, sweet peppers, grapes and sweet pumpkins are being exported to all over the world. If you look at the cases of complaints raised in importing countries, you can see that the packaging was not properly designed. In particular, the complaints about the crushing of the stalk are raised because the box is not sturdy enough and thus gets collapsed. In case 1, paper frames and banding were added to reinforce the boxes and protect the multi-tiered agricultural products. In the left photo, the bands strapped to the crates are 50 centimeters apart from each other, while in the right photo, the bands are 20 centimeters apart, so the left boxes do not have enough compressive strength, and because the bands were strapped too tight, the paper frame is bent and fails to perform its function. In case 2, you can see that the support structures for the crates are different. The left photo shows machine-made boxes that do not have reinforcement structure, while the boxes in the right photo have small triangle-shaped structures put into the corners. If your box machine makes boxes that cannot fit these triangle-shaped reinforcement structures, then it's a problem because the only solution would be to buy a new box machine. Corrugated boxes for export of agricultural products must be different from the ones for domestic transport. The manufacturers of corrugated boxes for export use should take into account various factors including packaging units, number of loading tires, transportation period, transportation methods, whether pallets are used, container dimensions, and method of sales. If low-strength boxes are used to cut packaging cost, complaints for importing in countries will increase. Rather than trying to lower the cost for corrugated boxes and overseas transportation, we should focus on developing ways to increase the loading quantity through packaging standardization and maintain the refrigeration temperature to reduce the spoilage rate. For corrugated boxes, we should spend less on the color printing cost and more on stronger materials. But it is currently done in the opposite way and so needs to be changed. It is also possible to adjust the thickness of corrugated boxes to load more pallets in the container. For example, if you use double-sided corrugated cardboard, the thickness is 8 to 9 millimeters. But if you use the BB type that is 6 to 7 millimeters thick, additional space will be created. In the longitudinal direction of the container, there may be cases where loading is not possible due to a few centimeters. So controlling the thickness of corrugated boxes is a method for improving loading efficiency. Controlling the humidity of pallets is also important to prevent crushing of exported agricultural products. In particular, if wooden pallets are wet from rain, the moisture contained in the wood evaporates and the moisture content of the boxes will increase. This will decrease box strength, resulting in the box collapsing or the agricultural products being crushed, ultimately leading to the quality deterioration. Therefore, care should be taken to keep the stored pallets dry during rain, and if they get wet, it should be fully dried before use. In addition, vent holes must be perforated for cold air circulation. As for corrugated cardboard boxes, the more vent holes and the wider the vent area, the proportionally lower the compressive strength is. Therefore, a method to minimize the decrease in the compressive strength of the box should be devised. This concludes my lecture on packaging practices for export of fruit products. I hope the packaging practices of Korea for domestic and export was helpful for you as you are merchandise and commercialize fruit products in Cambodia. Thank you.